Sid Rosenberg is on
640 Sports.
Get on the show. 888-640-9385. Yeah. It's a Sid Rosenberg show.
Sid Rosenberg is on
right now.
A week before their season opener against the Steelers, news coming in that Judge Berman has nullified the 4-game suspension for Tom Brady involved in Deflategate handed down by the NFL.
His argument, when it was broken down, was basically said, you know, Judge, this ain't fair.
This is such an enormous blow to the quote-unquote absolute power of the commissioner.
I am surprised that the NFL lost it.
Now you're going to have guys more apt to go to court.
And as you would imagine, a feeling of vindication here with the Patriots, with this decision.
We constantly hear this argument, oh, the Players Association gave Roger Goodell this power in the CBA, so why are they fighting it now? The reason they're fighting it now is evident from this ruling. It's that he's terrible at it.
You know, Andrew Brandt coined the phrase of pay as you go as far as contracts. He's disciplining as you go, making it up as you go.
I'm just going to arbitrarily throw 4-game suspension your way. I'm going to get you with a 2-game suspension. I'm going to get you with a 10-game suspension.
45 years ago today, Vince Lombardi died, and this is the spirit of Vince Lombardi.
Wow.
Stepping forward, all sorts of reactions.
You would have thought I had just told everybody they had won 3 pizzas at Sal's Pizzeria for the next 4 months. People were high-fiving, hugging each other.
I'm not satisfied here. I'm not satisfied with this. I'm not satisfied. Okay, the procedure was flawed. This is not the first time that it's been proved that the procedure is flawed.
The NFL charted this course, and its ship crashed. Its ship crashed.
Yeah, the NFL overturned Brady. I can't do nothing but smoke. That's bull. You might as well overturn all the homies that got weed cases in the league, too. If y'all gonna do that, keep it real.
If his situation worsened, what would a potential buyout of Goodell's contract look like?
Well, what I would say is right now we don't have any evidence that this is on the table, though obviously, as D. Smith mentioned, you have 6 lost cases when it went to the legal system, and obviously you've had a lot of credibility hits, so this could be talked about. If you look at Roger Goodell's salary compensation, the last we saw was 2013 from public filings. In the last 3 years of that, from 2011 to 2013, he earned an average of around $30 million. His contract expires March 31st of 2019, so extrapolate $30 million for 5 years, and you have a rough golden parachute of about $150 million for Roger Goodell, which sounds like a lot, but that's, of course, a drop in the bucket when you look at all the NFL revenues.
What's going on with Patriots ticket sales coming off today's news that Brady is going to play in Week 1?
Well, what you normally see on the resale market as you get closer to the game is a drop. The average prices of games have dropped about 10% in the last week, but TickIQ, which is a resale ticket market tracking company, says that today alone, the ticket prices for the home opener Patriots-Steelers have gone up about 10%, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a lot when you consider that most people have already decided to make a decision. So asking prices go down as we get this close to the game. The fact that it's up about 9-10% suggests that there are people that are willing to charge more and pay more now that it looks like Brady's in the game.
Are you familiar with General Soleimani?
Yes. Go ahead. Give me a little. Go ahead. Tell me.
He runs the Quds forces.
Yes. Okay. Right.
Do you expect
and I think the Kurds, by the way, have been horribly mistreated by us.
No, not the Kurds. The Quds forces, the Iranian Revolutionary Guards Quds forces, the bad guys.
Right.
Do you expect his behavior to change as a result?
Said Kurds.
No. Quds.
I'm sorry. I thought you said Kurds. Because I think the Kurds have been very poorly treated by us here. Go ahead.
Agreed. So Soleimani runs the Quds forces. Do you expect his behavior is going to change as a result of this deal with Iran?
I think that Iran right now is in the driver's seat to do whatever they want to do. I think what's happening with Iran is, I think it's one of the, and I covered it very well. I assume you saw the news conference. I think Iran it's one of the great deals ever made for them. I think it's one of the most incompetent contracts I've ever seen. I'm not just talking about defense. I'm not talking about a contract with another country. I've never seen more of a one-sided deal, I think, in my life. Absolutely.
Well, Soleimani is to terrorism sort of what Trump is to real estate. He's many people would say he's the most dangerous man in the world, and he runs the Quds forces, which is their Navy SEALs. Do you think they're going to stop?
The gentleman that was going back and forth with Russia and meeting with Putin, I read something, and that seems to be also where he's at. He's going back and forth, meeting with other countries, et cetera, et cetera.
That's the guy. And so, do you think
not good for us? And what it shows is a total lack of respect. I mean, that the other countries would even be entertaining him, and they're entertaining him big league. Big league.
I'm looking for the next commander-in-chief to know who Hassan Nasrallah is, and Zawahiri, and al-Julani, and al-Baghdadi. Do you know the players without a scorecard yet, Donald Trump?
No, I'll tell you honestly, I think by the time we get to office, they'll all be changed. They'll be all gone. I knew you were going to ask me things like this, and there's no reason because, number one, I will hopefully find General Douglas MacArthur in the pack. I will find whoever it is that I'll find, but they're all changing you. Those are like history questions. Do you know this one? Do you know that one?
I don't believe in gotcha questions. I'm not trying to, quiz you on who the worst guy in the world is.
The independent run would be a death wish, and we know it.
What protects you from him enforcing? I mean, it really is just honor, right?
Am I better off today than I was yesterday? The answer is yes. And so, yeah, you know what? In 6 months, if someone wanted to play that card, he was pretty emphatic. All of our candidates have been emphatic that they're not running as an independent, and running the party is my job. And I have to make sure that if someone wants to avail themselves to the party process, then they better make sure that they pledge their support for the party. So I think he did the right thing. I think all the candidates have done the right thing, and I've done what I have to do as chairman of the party.
The chairman just left, as you probably know, and he's been extremely fair. The RNC has been absolutely terrific over the last 2-month period. And as you know, that's what I've wanted. I've wanted fairness. I don't have to be treated any differently than anybody else. I just wanted fairness from the Republican Party. We're leading in every single poll. A new poll came out today where we're over 30%. We've actually hit numbers as high as 35 and 40%. And frankly, I felt that the absolute best way to win and to beat the Democrats, and very easily, I think, beat the Democrats, no matter who it may be, whether it's Hillary or anybody else. And I think maybe Hillary's going to have a very hard time, frankly, with what's happening, getting to the starting gate. The best way for the Republicans to win is if I win the nomination and go directly against whoever they happen to put up. And for that reason, I have signed the pledge.
I think I'm in the mood.
Ricky's in the mood. Langel's in the mood. I think Z-Mac's in the mood. I'm in the mood. We got a great show today, too, for your 3-day weekend. Don't forget, we're not back again until Tuesday morning once 10 o'clock rolls around this morning. Robert Plant. I'm in the mood. Hey, let me just start with this for a second, okay? I'm getting sick and effing tired of this Throwback Thursday garbage.
What do you mean?
I'm tired of it. I don't want to see it anymore. So.
You don't? What do you mean?
I'm tired of it. I've had enough.
I never, ever jumped on that bandwagon.
That's the thing.
Ever.
Throwback Thursday.
Throwback Thursday, Flashback Friday, enough of that stuff. My old buddy there, Scott Wenzel, my career started, just so you know, in this business in the late 1990s, and I've been over this story. If you haven't read this story or heard this story, go buy my book today, You're Wrong and You're Ugly. Still available at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. It details this unprecedented rise to fame that I had, which, of course, has since crashed and burned, but that's fine. It was an unprecedented rise from doing no communications, never taking a class in my life, no radio, no college radio. In 3 years, I went from doing internet radio to doing sports on Imus, hosting middays on WFAN, and hosting the Giants. So, never been a story like it. Never will be a story like it again. But I did start my career down here, CBS Sportsline, the genius that is Mike Levy in Fort Lauderdale. And the first show I did was with a kid named Joshua Grant, who's now a multimillionaire living in Las Vegas, working in real estate. There was a show called Hot Java. But my first real opportunity in radio came alongside a guy named Scott Kaplan. At the time, Scott Kaplan just started at Sportsline. He was producing Hank Goldberg's show down here doing weekends on WQAM. And Scott started up the radio division. You've heard Scott on this show many times now. Make a long story short, Scott and I worked together for about 3 years. We went to New York City together to host mornings at 102.7 WNEW in 2000. They got rid of Scott in October. He was replaced by Craig Carton. And then they got rid of me, and I went to WFAN. But in 1999, right before we got the gig in New York City, we started to gain some legs, if you will, some traction. We had a syndicated show. We were on in about 40 markets across America from here, both on the Sports Fan radio network. Back then it was us, JT the Brick and the Fabulous Sports Babe, and Westwood One. And we used to go to the different cities that we were on. Like I said, about 40 cities, which included some decent-sized cities. Ontario, California, just north of Los Angeles. Kansas City, we did very well. Number 3 in Kansas City at the time. Las Vegas and other pretty big cities. One of the places that we were on was in Maine. Portland, Maine. And Sugarloaf, Maine. Sugarloaf, Maine is one of the nicest ski resorts in the country. I mean, it is gorgeous. When we do our shows from the ski resort every single winter, we had a blast, man. We had our run of the resort, the bars, the restaurants. We were rock stars up there. Make a long story short, one of the guys that ran that whole thing up there, a guy named Scott Wenzel, became a very good friend of ours. He's still up there in Maine. And he puts a picture on Facebook yesterday, on Throwback Thursday, of me, him, and Scott, circa 1999, about 16 years ago. I look at the picture. First of all, I was actually pretty good looking. All those guys that are breaking my balls about how hot Danielle is, I was a pretty good looking guy. That's first of all. Second of all, I've really gotten old, you know. So, I mean, I do my best not to. I go to the gym every day. I've actually got a much better body now than I did 16 years ago. But looking at my face, damn, I've aged a lot. Now, again, I'm not, for God, God willing, we'll be 49 in April. I look pretty damn good. But I'm not 32. And I look at these pictures, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I saw those yesterday.
Yeah, like what happened?
First thing I thought when I saw it was, God, you have aged.
I have aged. Yeah, I had hair then, no wrinkles then.
Like the very next picture on my timeline was you standing in the hallway here in your Mets shirt. I was like,
big difference.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, no, I mean,
I still look good, but it's, you know, you can't fight it, man.
Well, I mean, me too. I mean, it's the same. I look at the pictures, I'm horrified. Each picture is worse than the next.
I mean, but somebody sees you now, they go, wow, Lengel's a good-looking guy. He's in great shape, nice face, good-looking guy. But then you look at yourself at 32, 33, it just ain't the same.
The lines on the face and the bags and the gray.
So anyway, don't get me involved in these Throwback Thursdays and Flashback Fridays and eat my ass Saturday, okay? I'm done with it.
You know what the sun does to you, right?
Oh, be quiet.
I'm just saying.
Sun does
I'm
to
just
you.
saying. I'm just saying.
Oh, be quiet. I'd much rather be a little wrinkly at 48 and tan than the Bela Lugosi pale as a ghost look that you've got, my friend, okay?
Hey, that's fine. I'd rather be pale as a ghost, so we're both on the same terms.
Yeah. I can't go with the pale as a ghosting. I can't stand that. That's just me. That's fine. It's not just the sun. It's just you can't stop age. It is what it is. I mean, I'm not wrinkled to the point where I'm the lady in what was that movie again? The lady
Tanley.
the dog went out the window and something about Mary.
Something about Mary. Yeah.
Right, but it's just his age. I mean, you're going to see, too. You're going to see the same thing. You stay out of the sun. You think you do all these great things to take care of yourself. And you'll see when you're hitting close to 50, like I am, I'll be 49 this year, and you look back at your pictures where you are now in your early 30s, you're going to be like, well, with staying out of the sun and doing all these things, you'll be like, oh, my God, what happened? What happened? Like, what? But you just can't, you can't stop it, can you?
No, unfortunately not. It's a horrible thing.
So that depressed me yesterday, and then of course, what else depressed me yesterday? I like starting off shows by telling you what depressed me. Eventually, I get to something that made me happy, but
yes,
what else depressed me yesterday? The Iran talks that still depressed me.
What didn't depress you is the question.
The Giants depressed me last night. They didn't play anybody in their preseason finale against the New England Patriots, who were celebrating all day because Tom Brady is, in fact, going to play on Thursday, Week 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Big win for Brady, Kraft and the Pats, and a huge loss, once again, for Roger Goodell, who's now lost 6 of these cases once they go legal. He is, as Mike Lupica said in today's New York Daily News, he's basically had his balls cut off. He's got no power left, and it's a joke. You heard Darren Ravel there in the open, put together nicely by Steve Zemak, talk about the possibility of buying out Goodell's contract, because every time he tries to take a stand on something as the big guy, the maven, the macha, the boss, he loses. Is that a real a viable option here? Are they actually talking about buying out Roger Goodell?
Yeah, I guess so, and I think it might be in his best interest too. The guy looks like a clown now.
He does look like a fool.
Throws down rulings and has no merit.
None. I mean, let me give Ray Rice 2 games, knocking out his girlfriend in an elevator. Let me give Tom Brady double the amount of that for doing nothing. It doesn't seem like he has any real plan, any real... has no idea what he's doing. Now, Snoop Dogg comes out there in the open and says, well, hold on a second. Now you got all my brothers that are suspended for smoking weed. Why aren't all those guys now pardoned basically like Tom Brady? That was a very funny clip. Where was that taken from?
I just saw the clip somewhere online, and as I was scanning through the sites, I see Snoop Dogg comments on Tom Brady, and it was
Snoop Dogg comments on Tom Brady.
And you know Snoop Dogg's a big Steeler fan.
Yes, he is.
The Steelers have Brady in Week 1.
Week 1, right. So he was hoping to see Jimmy Garoppolo, and he's not. I can tell you this, when Brady was still suspended, the Patriots were a 3-point favorite over the Steelers on Thursday night. They're now a 7-point favorite. So that line more than doubled, went from 3 to 7 with Tom Brady under center rather than Jimmy Garoppolo coming up in less than a week now, Thursday night. The Patriots and the Steelers, I believe we're going to have 2 guys from Boston, talking about that story today. Tony Maserati, a.k.a. Tony Maz, part of the most popular sports show in Boston, CBS's Boston station, Maz and Felger. Tony Maz stopping by today. And then, of course, the voice, the face of Boston sports. You know him from the Boston Globe, ESPN sports reporters around the horn. The very talented Bob Ryan is going to stop by as well. So both Bob Ryan and Tony Maz from Boston today talking about the Tom Brady victory and the Roger Goodell NFL loss. I will tell you this, Giant fan, not a Pats fan, don't really care, but I'm happy Brady won because I thought from the very beginning, and I was very adamant about this, you know that. I thought it was much ado about nothing. I thought it was stupid. The guy played better in the second half against the Colts than he did with the deflated footballs, and this was a witch hunt to me. And when you had guys come on talking about the integrity of the game, which is a complete joke, you got a bunch of guys that are beating their girlfriends and doing steroids and gangbangers, and give me an effing break, integrity of the game. The fact you're going to hold Tom Brady to this incredibly high standard and give him a quarter of a season when guys are knocking out their girlfriends and receiving less of a penalty, said to me from the beginning this was a sham. And I was pissed about it. You may remember I Facebooked it. I had people telling me, oh, Sid, what's wrong with you? What's the message to the kids? The guy cheated. Even in today's New York Post, somebody wrote a story, lying cheater Tom Brady proves that lying actually wins. I
saw that this morning.
Break. Who wrote that stupidity? Was that Serby?
I just saw the column. I just scrolled through. I didn't even click on it.
I'm happy Brady won. I really am. And I'm happy for him because he is probably, and you can argue Johnny Unitas or Joe Montana, Roger Staubach, Dan Marino, I don't care who it is. He's probably the best quarterback to ever play the game. He's played in more Super Bowls than anybody else. And now, of course, we're celebrating the 50-year anniversary this year of the Super Bowl in San Francisco. And to think that Tom Brady would miss a quarter of the season over this nonsense was nauseating to me. So I'm happy he won.
It was Steve Serby.
See, I knew it. I knew it. He's a Jet guy. Jet guys, Dalpin guys, they're like, oh, come on. Listen, beat the Pats with their best out there. Just go out there and beat them. And you beat them last year, you can beat them again. So Brady is going to play, and that's part of the big news today. A couple of Donald Trump pieces there. There's a radio host by the name of Hugh Hewitt. I swear to God, a month ago, I did not know who Hugh Hewitt was. I was watching Meet the Press about a month ago on a Sunday morning, and he was on. And, in fact, I sent him a tweet the next day, said he did a good job, offered an invite, and he was very nice. He got right back to me. Has not come on yet, but was very nice. And now I find myself following him on Twitter and following his audio. And yesterday, with both Carly Fiorina and Donald Trump, because he does know his stuff. I got to give him credit. He can reel off every name of every general, every bad guy, every leader around the world today. Every Muslim, Arab, bad guy, he knows the name. He knows the names more than Jeb Bush, Donald Trump, Carly Fiorina, Barack Obama. He does. But he goes out there yesterday, and I think in both interviews, Carly Fiorina and Donald Trump on his show, he tried to get them both. I mean, I know you played the Donald Trump thing there, and Trump was like, listen, you're trying to get me here. I don't know all the names. I'm sorry. By the time I go into office, they won't be there, or I'll take care of them. You're trying to get me here. And then you didn't play Carly Fiorina. You got that piece, Eric. Did he not do the same with Carly Fiorina?
Yeah, he said he's going to conduct an experiment and run down the same set of questions he did for Trump.
Right. And she also, in the very beginning, she stumbled big way.
Yeah, she didn't answer any of the questions quickly.
Like, do you know who Suleimana is? And she's like, why? Like, why are you asking me?
She kind of tap danced her way through each question.
He got them both. He got them both.
Yeah,
he got Trump and Fiorina.
He proved his point.
Yes, he did.
But Trump came back and he goes, well, that's the general that has been meeting with Russia. And he goes, well, yeah, now you know.
No, he didn't say now you know. He said, no, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
He was nice about it. But Trump was almost like, it was like my son or my daughter would be sitting at a table doing homework with them. He's like, isn't that the guy? And Hewitt was like, oh, yeah, that's the guy. Yeah, you're all over it, Donald. Way to go. I mean, he certainly did prove yesterday, Hugh Hewitt, that he knows more about this stuff than Donald Trump. But, again, for the 1,000th time, and these folks don't seem to understand this, we don't care what he knows and what he doesn't know. It's his brash and arrogant and America's going to be great again attitude that has Donald Trump winning this thing. It's not the content of what he says. Yesterday, a big day for Donald Trump. He did meet with Priebus of the RNC and pledged his loyalty to the Republicans. You did hear Priebus on with Greta Van Susteren afterwards, who basically said, listen, there's nothing legally binding about what Donald Trump signed yesterday. There was nothing to stop Donald Trump in 6 months from saying, you know what, the Republican thing ain't working out. I'm going independent. So even though he signed that yesterday, and he is seemingly all in with the Republicans, there was nothing legally binding about that. He can still change his mind. Priebus with Greta said, listen, I think he'll be with us. I'm not worried about it. But you do realize he can still change his mind.
Yeah, but it still looks good. It looks good. Maybe he'll get some more Republicans behind him. But, yeah, you're right. He could, and with Trump, he could flip-flop tomorrow.
Right.
Or maybe before even maybe the day of the debate.
That could happen. That's exactly right. So all that was in the open. Big baseball weekend coming up. The Yankees and Blue Jays were both off yesterday. So the Blue Jays remain a game and a half better than the Yanks. And the Yankees, they start a 3-game set in the Bronx against the Tampa Bay Rays tonight. Severino on the mound for the Yankees tonight. Evaldi pitches tomorrow. Nova goes on Sunday. And then Buck Showalter and the Baltimore Orioles come to the Bronx for a set that starts on Monday. The Mets, they lose a half a game last night. They were idle, but the Nationals won. So the Met lead over Washington is now 6 games atop the NL East. And the Mets start a 3-game series right down here in Miami against your Marlins. Stanton's going to play. Jose Fernandez is going to play. And Doggy thinks the Mets may have a long weekend.
Yeah, that's what he said. He thinks with Fernandez and Stanton.
Yes. And they may be looking ahead, too, because let's not forget, after this weekend series against the Marlins, where do they go on Monday? To Washington, taking on the second-place Nationals with an opportunity to wrap up the NL East in early September. DeGrom, Cologne, and the return of Steven Matz here Sunday in Miami on the mound for the Mets. And then Mets and Nats, that big series starts on Monday. As I said, the Pats, that line went from 3 to 7. Season opens on Thursday. The Jets are ready now. They played the Eagles last night. Matt Flynn looked good for the Jets. Tim Tebow looked great for the Eagles. And the Jets, just so you know, right now are a 3-point home favorite over the Cleveland Browns, Week 1 next Sunday. The Dolphins They played somebody last night, Tampa Bay. I did not see any of it.
Yes,
All right.
yeah.
The Dolphins start the season next Sunday in Washington against the Redskins, and right now Miami is a 3.5-point road favorite. How about that? Dolphins favored on the road, and finally my football Giants, who again looked awful, a horrible preseason against the Patriots last night. They start the season next Sunday night in Dallas, and right now the Giants are a 5.5-point underdog in Dallas against the Cowboys. A monster guest list coming your way on this Friday. We'll start in about 20 minutes, 6:45 a.m. with the man that has taught 6 number ones. 6 of them, including both Venus and Serena Williams, Capriati, Andy Roddick, Sharapova, a host of others. And now he's got Ava Rosenberg, and that is the great Rick Macy. Rick Macy talking U.S. Open tennis as Serena nears the Grand Slam. Has not been done since Steffi Graf back in 1988. Serena trying to do it now. We'll talk U.S. Open tennis with Rick Macy coming up at 6:45. Yankee baseball with the man that covers the Yankees on a daily basis. For the New York Daily News, he joins us twice a week. Mark Feinsand coming up at 7:15. We'll do the Jets and the Giants with my dear friend from WFAN, does an unbelievable job covering both the Jets and the Giants on the NFL Network. Kim Jones stopping by at 7:30. 8:15, like I said, from Boston, part of the most popular sports talk show in Boston today, the Felger and Maz Show. Tony Maz. That's 8:15. Coming up at 8:45 this morning, his weekly visit, the moderator of Meet the Press, the great Chuck Todd. Coming up at 9:05 this morning, he was not here yesterday. He will be here today. GOP candidate Lindsey Graham coming up at 9:05. And from ESPN sports reporters and the Boston Globe, Bob Ryan as well. So Rick Macy, Mark Feinsand, Kim Jones, Tony Maz, Bob Ryan, Chuck Todd, and Lindsey Graham all stopping by today. Oh, yeah. You made a face. It's not bad, huh?
Yeah, the list was going on and on and on. It's unbelievable.
Just like the good old days on the Depot show, no? Same thing.
Very similar, very similar.
Yeah. I want to go out with a bang before the holiday. And again, we're going to take Monday off. So we'll all be back on Tuesday. And then a week from today, Lengel will not be here because he's getting married. I can't believe it. You are now down, by the way. Now, just so you know, you're down, including today, to 4 shows before you become officially Alicia's husband.
Put it like that, yeah.
Right, now you're going to be wearing a wedding ring every day? Is that?
I think so, yeah.
He'll take it off when we go to San Francisco.
What are you talking about? How dare you? What are you insinuating?
Exactly what I said. You'll take it off when we go to San Francisco.
No, not at all.
The Super Bowl. Oh.
That would be...
See, I thought you'd be excited that I included your name in the conversation, but you're so caught up in the whole wedding and the ring and
in the context of what you're saying, I don't agree with that.
Right, I got you.
You're sending out a bad message.
Yes, I am, aren't I? 888-640-9385. 888-640-9385. And also, by the way, that's not it. A good friend, the very, very lovely Chelsea Taylor, part of the 103.1 WIRK country music station, our sister station, a couple of doors down. She's coming back in today to give away another pair of tickets for Sunday's big show, Lady Antebellum, at the Perfect Vodka Theater with Hunter Hayes and Sam Hood, I think is the guy's name. Is that right? Or Sam Hart? What's that guy's name?
Ooh, I don't know that.
Well, I know we've got Lady Antebellum tickets, and Chelsea will give those away today, too. So it's an unbelievable holiday Friday weekend wrap-up show. So Sam Hunt, thank you. Thank you, Ricky. We got all that coming your way. Stick around. More on a very exciting and busy Friday right after this.
Sid. Dexter Manley's with us to break down our Monday morning quarterback. Was it a big jinx that Troy Aikman was doing the game, the former Cowboy?
I think Troy Aikman's a queer.
Hello.
Well.
We don't want to go there.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
Now, you want to apologize to him?
No.
You don't?
I'll just say I take that back.
Okay.
Since he's a Cowboy fan.
Right. Well, we don't want certainly anyone to think that anybody endorses anything like that, Dexter, because that is, really not an area that we want to go in.
Okay, I apologize.
Dexter, always good to see you.
Good, thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
It's a Sid Rosenberg Show on 640 Sports right now.
classic Bee Gees on your Friday morning, 6:35. Welcome back to the Sid Rosenberg Show. Monster Show coming your way. Rick Macy, Mark Feinsand, Kim Jones, Tony Maz, Bob Bryan, Chuck Todd, Lindsey Graham, Chelsea Taylor, all coming on today. Lady Antebellum tickets and all kinds of really cool stuff going on. Let me get to Stephanie Bird Perales here very, very quickly. Stephanie, good morning, sweetheart. How are you?
Good morning. I just want to wish Z-Mac a happy early birthday because you guys won't be on the air on Monday.
Okay. Is Monday his birthday? I don't even know that. Is that right?
It better be. It was last year on September 7th. And also, I just want to tell everybody, please go to sidrosenberg.co and get your shirt because I will probably be wearing my Green Jets shirt to the game on the 13th.
Nice.
My Red Citizens shirt on the Today Show the 14th. And I will be wearing my orange Mets shirt to the Citi Field when the Mets and Marlins are playing on Tuesday. So go out and support Sid and syndicate Sid.
God, I love you.
Have a great day.
I love you. Thank you, Stephanie. That's a real fan right there. I believe that. I think right now we've got 6 or 7 different Sid Rosenberg T-shirts in stock. Once again, you can buy them at sidrosenberg.co, put together very nicely by Kevin Canessa. And now we've got the other website going up today, Wiki Balufe, sidrosenberg.net. I think Stephanie is the only person I know, maybe outside my dad, certainly my only fan, only listener, that's got every single T-shirt, every one. So she is, like she said, she's going to wear the green Jet shirt to the Jets-Browns game she's going to in New Jersey next Sunday. On the Today Show, NBC, the Red Citizen shirt on Monday. And then she's one of 2 ladies to already purchase the brand new Sid Orange New York Met T-shirt. And she's going to a Met game at Citi Field, too. So she's going to a Met game, a Jet game, and the Today Show. And, God, that goddamn... It's the Hash Brown at McDonald's. Well, she's going to wear every one of my shirts up in New York. That is a real Sid fan right there. That is a real Sid fan.
She is a true fan. There's no doubt.
That was a vomit burp, too.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, it's disgusting.
Oh, the worst. How come vomit burps don't come out? It's just, is it naturally that you just kind of shut that thing down before you yolk all over the place?
I think so. I hope so.
Because you don't really consciously stop it. It just, the stuff comes up. It's a vomit burp, and then you just kind of.
It's close.
Yeah. And those are the worst because it burns my throat.
Right, yeah, but very acidy.
Very acidy.
Acid reflux kind of thing.
So between the Egg McMuffin, the Hash Brown, and that McDonald's coffee, which is basically, diesel fuel, my ass and my throat are both killing me right now.
Well, it sounded disgusting, so I'm sure.
Did you have Mickey D's this morning, too?
I did, as a matter of fact.
What do you have in the morning from there?
I have the bacon.
You get the sausage?
No, I get the bacon, egg, and cheese.
Why do you get bacon
biscuit?
Why bacon?
I don't know. I've kind of...
You almost had a heart attack last year as it is.
No,
your cholesterol is through the roof.
It is not.
Why do you have to add bacon? If it's a filthy animal, the pig anyway. Why add bacon?
I don't know, because I don't really eat it anywhere else.
Yeah, but just don't eat it there. Just get like I get. The Egg McMuffin is enough. It's fine. You don't eat bacon. You try to kill yourself?
No.
I don't get it.
Jesus. It's paper thin anyways. It's not like they're giving me big slabs.
And it's from the pig's ass or something, too. It's not like the good part of the pig. It's probably a dirty anus from a pig, and you're eating that every single morning.
I'm not kosher, though.
I'm not kosher either, but I draw the line at a filthy animal.
A filthy animal?
Filthy animal.
What?
Except when I was 22, of course. I woke up with a filthy animal.
What?
As you've done many, many times. You, all those chicks you stole from Andy Slater.
Oh, stop it.
All the girls that Andy Slater took out that you took home and banged anyway.
Don't cause friction between me and Slater.
No, it's well known already.
It's well known.
I think Tom Jicker wrote a story about it a couple years ago.
The fake Tom Jicker.
The fake Tom Jicker. Yeah. Who is the fake Tom Jicker?
That's a good question.
That is one of the great mysteries in South Florida the last decade or so, isn't it?
It's remained one, too.
I've heard all kinds. Somebody said it was Joe Bell once, Hank Goldberg once. They said it was, who else? George Rodriguez once. There's been all kinds of predictions, but nobody seems to know who this fake Tom Chick is, although he seems pretty savvy and in the know about all the radio stuff.
Yeah, he knows somebody.
Who does he know?
That's a good question.
Yeah. I was on 850 yesterday. I was really good. I mean,
What show?
At the risk of sounding like a real arrogant jerk, I was great.
At the risk.
Yeah. Well, Jennifer Ross is off this week. Bill Adams was on. his 11 to 12 show in between Rich Stevens and the awesome Joyce Kaufman. So Bill Adams was on with Tracy. I don't know who Tracy is. I think she works at WRMF, and she's on after the KVJ show.
Okay.
And I heard she's really nice and really cute and all this stuff. I don't know. But she was very good with Bill yesterday. Very, very good. And they had me on to talk about the fallen cops and all that stuff. And I just ran that thing for about 10 minutes. It was great.
Yeah?
Oh, God, was it good.
I wasn't listening.
Yeah, of course you weren't. And I was at breakfast with Danielle at Bruce's of Great Neck in Boca, trying to enjoy the Sid Rosenberg omelet, which is still on the menu. You can go to Bruce's in Boca and get yourself the Sid Rosenberg omelet. And I left, actually. I went outside for 10 minutes to do the show with Bill Adams, and it came out great. And I got a lot of very positive feedback on Facebook and Twitter about the appearance. Lots of folks listen to us. Lots, actually. And then at 10 o'clock, they go there.
Really?
Well, you can't listen to Dan Patrick. And we got Colin Coward coming on. Next Monday he starts, which is really good news, from noon to 3. And then we got Joe in the afternoons. But people listen to us, and they go to 850 because of the politics and the news, and that station is kind of like us. So we're actually doing Rich Stevens and Bill Adams and those folks a favor, because I recognize names that listen to us every morning that said you were great with Bill Adams just now. And certainly Joyce. I mean, the only two shows you need to listen to in South Florida every day are me and Joyce. Everybody knows that.
Need
to.
That's a need.
It's a need.
Mm-hmm.
It's no different than taking medication,
right?
Going to AA if you're a drunk. You need to have Sid and Joyce as part of your daily diet. You would agree with that, right?
Right, of course.
Yeah. Well, you're such a suck-up anyway.
What? Well,
and you still feel guilty because you screwed her. Actually,
what are you talking about?
That was literally about 25 years ago.
No.
But on our anniversary,
disgusting.
when everybody else called in, even the fat kid, Grant, you never called her, did you?
I did not.
No.
But there was a reason for that.
There's no reason. You're selfish.
Yes, no.
You don't care about anybody else but yourself.
And we've put that behind us.
No, she's still furious with you.
She does not.
I'm telling you, she is.
She took her shots.
she's
On
furious.
a company email to the entire company.
And then she continues to text me and tell me what a louse you are.
No, she doesn't do that anymore.
Just last night.
No, she came.
You want me to show you the text?
Yes. I do want to see.
I'm going to show it to you. First, we have to take a break, though, okay? Then when we come back, this guy has taught 6 number ones along the way, including both Venus and Serena. Now, Ava Rosenberg is his proud tennis student. Right here in Boca Raton, one of the great tennis coaches in the history of the game, the Rick Macy Tennis Academy, which is in Boca Raton. Like I said, it's on Lyons Road between Palmetto and Glades. So we'll talk about the U.S. Open. Serena, as she tries to do what Steffi Graf did nearly 30 years ago. We'll talk tennis with our good buddy Rick Macy right after this.
Sid Rosenberg, presidential GOP hopeful Lindsey Graham. Tell us why you're a better choice than Jeb specifically, or Scott specifically, or Marco on your way to the White House.
I think I'm best qualified to fix a broken Washington. When it comes to the war, I'm not for endless war. I'm for real security. And what President Obama is giving to this nation is a false sense of security. We are not safe. We're very much exposed. That I'm the best person to go into the ring with Hillary Clinton.
Sid Rosenberg, mornings on 640 Sports.
I've always made some legendary comebacks since 1998 is when it first started, 98. So that's kind of just been my MO for my whole career. And today, for instance, I just said 1 point at a time. And like I said, when I get down, I tend to get really relaxed and I start to play a little better. But yeah, just taking it one moment at a time.
Crashing into me like waves on the coast. Every time we talk, you move in close. I don't want you to stop. I don't want you to stop tonight. We got the last 2 glasses on a straw hut bar, trying to remember what number we are. String of white lights making your eyes shine tonight. We're buzzing like that no vacancy sign out front. Your skin is begging to be kissed by a little more than the sun. You take my hand in yours, you lean in and your lips taste like sangria.
New Blake Shelton, Sangria. That was Serena Williams. trying to make history here. Steffi Graf did it 1988, and now she's trying to win the Grand Slam, too. And, of course, the rejoin there was Lindsey Graham, who will join us today on the program, GOP hopeful. Presidential candidate Lindsey Graham. We got a monster show coming up. Mark Beinsan covering the Yankees. Kim Jones, NFL Network, covering the Jets and Giants. Tony Maz and Bob Ryan, both out of Boston, covering the Tom Brady story. Chuck Todd, Meet the Press, and Lindsey Graham. Plus Chelsea Taylor giving away a pair of tickets for Lady Antebellum at the Perfect Vodka Theater on Sunday night. All of that on the show today. But talking about Serena, right here in our own backyard, Boca Raton, we've got the best tennis academy in the country. We got a guy there who's taught 6 number ones along the way, including both Serena and Venus, who's respected worldwide. And my daughter Ava plays at his academy. It is my friend, the great Rick Macy. Rick, good morning, pal. How are you?
Good, Sid. How are you today?
I'm doing great. It's nice to talk to you. This is a historic time. I know Serena wasn't great in her last win, but as you heard her say there, she's found a way to have magic comebacks since she started about 17 years ago. And I'll say this to you, Rick. Before Tiger Woods was even close to Jack Nicklaus, and he still never caught Jack Nicklaus, as you know, in majors, there were folks ready to call Tiger the greatest golfer of all time. I don't know all the numbers, Martina Navratilova, Steffi Graf, Chris Evert, but is there any doubt, Rick, that we're watching the greatest female tennis player of all time right now in Serena Williams?
Yeah, there's no doubt whatsoever. People judge everything, by the Grand Slams, which they probably should. But at the end of the day, the sport has never seen someone so strong, so fast, so quick. A lot of disguise in her game. She has wrinkles in her game that you really got to look at how she can hold the ball and, do things that other people can't. But instead of looking at her biceps or her legs, you got to look what's between the ears. The mentally strongest woman tennis player ever. There's no doubt. She's not even playing that good, but she's so competitive. She's beyond competitive, and people got to really respect what's between that girl's ears.
You say that, Rick, but you know that she has come under fire over the years. They say as great as she is, maybe the best ever, she could be even better if, in fact, she really devoted herself and dedicated herself to the sport. She had that thing at Wimbledon, which was kind of odd. She likes to go out. She does. There's been some question about Serena's head and motivation along the way. You do know that.
Yeah, I think you can always be better in everything. We can criticize everything. I think both her and Venus could have come to the net a lot more. They could have used their God-given talents even better to seek and swarm at the net. But it cuts the other way too. I mean, she's still at the top. She's 34 years old. Maybe that balance, maybe having other things in her life. She's still playing. I can go down the list here, Sid, and the field has been diluted over the last 6 years. Hingis, Henin, Kleisters, Messina, Davenport, Capriati, Dementieva, Pierce, Maresmo, Sharapova in and out, Li Na. I could go on and on. A lot of people have exited stage left, and she's still in there. So you got to give her a lot of credit, but also the competition isn't what it used to be because all these girls retired, got married, quit, whatever. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And I have no doubt she's the best that I've seen.
I want to get back to the competition, too, specifically amongst the men, too, specifically amongst American men. Now, Rick, first of all, let everybody know you had a book that came out last year. You talked specifically about some of the all-time greats that you have taught along the way, including both Serena and Venus, Capriati, Roddick, Sharapova. Can people still get that book online today?
Yeah, they can go to Amazon. It's doing great. It's more like a self-help book. It's extracting greatness from yourself and others. But I do go into some of the stories when I taught these kids when they were young and how they're wired and how they competed. And they all had one common thread, and they went for the jugular. I mean, that's the one thing. They held the racket different. They hit it different. They had different backgrounds. But at the end of the day, ultimate competitors. And I think that's the real wild card for any parent. That's what this is all about. Teach your kids to become the best competitor they can be, and you let the chips fall where they fall.
This is kind of an obligatory and lame question, Rick, but you have to almost ask it. First of all, how old were Venus and Serena when you got them? And secondly, when you had them, could you ever have imagined that, especially Serena, because Venus was the better player early on, that Serena would go down as the greatest of all time?
in 1991, Richard Williams contacted me, and they wanted to move from Compton. And at the end of the day, I guess I won the sweepstakes, and we did a pretty big contract, and they moved. They were 9-10. I didn't think they were that good at the time. They were just good junior players, a lot of arms and legs and hair and flying all over the place. And but I had Capriati 2 years earlier, and I knew, Sid, that they would transcend the sport. If they could get decent strokes and have great training, the world back in 1990, they haven't saw someone big, strong, and fast. Usually if you're big and strong, you didn't have a good motor. So they could transcend the sport. And I told Richard at the time, I said, listen, you got the number one player in the world. Because Venus was a little better, a little more mature. He goes, no, brother, man, I got the next two.
Wow.
And, so I had no doubt. And if you go back and check in the 90s, even when they were 9 and 10, I'd say they were going to be 1 and 2 in the world. And they transcend the sport, and they did. And they deserve it because, they were under a microscope. Obviously, Richard, there's a lot of things that he would say and do, and they just used pressure as their best friend. And, they're both still standing, and they deserve a lot of credit.
Now, on the men's side, of course, the four guys that always win, or at least you think they're going to win, include Nadal, Djokovic, who's a magnificent player, Roger Federer is still pretty good even at 60, and Andy Murray, who had a struggle to win just yesterday. And I've had this conversation with you, Rick Macy, and Patrick McEnroe, and John McEnroe, and a host of others, and it was in the New York Times again just a couple of days ago. I know that we got spoiled 20 years ago. That's what Pat tells me all the time, right? We had Sampras, and we had Agassi, and Courier, and Chang, and the list goes on of successful American men. I don't expect to get that back again, but are we ever going to get at least a couple of guys, a couple of American men, Rick Macy, that are actually pretty good?
Yeah, those days are gone. They're not coming back. The sport's too global. The best athletes, they migrate to other sports. We get a couple. But I'm going out on a limb. Well, it's not a limb. There's a boy, 17, Riley Opopka. His dad played pro basketball. He's the real deal. He's 6'11". I'm not kidding.
Wow.
6'11". He's like Isner.
That's a John Isner. Exactly right. Exactly, yeah.
Like Isner, Sid, but he has a better motor, a little better athlete, and he's the real deal. And, just with the serve, if you're corking at 140 and hitting the corner, I don't care how much better Federer is. You're 5-0 in the first set with him. So this kid is the real deal just because you can't return the guy's serve. So if I was going to say mail it in and there's a kid that could go in there to that top 5 and be the real deal, I would say this Riley Opopka. There's some good young juniors coming up. But listen, now our standards, let's get them in the top 100.
Right.
Top
right.
100. What is that? That's like sitting on the bench at the NBA. I mean, before it was Grand Slam. So I don't see anybody that blows me away. But this kid, just because he can hit bombs, and he's a great kid. I saw him at the bank the other day. He's so big he had to duck going in the door, okay? but at 17, he's already going to the bank. So he must be doing something right.
Yeah, exactly. So you think that he's a better player than my daughter Ava? Just a little?
Well, he's taller. I'm going to go on record with that. That's the only thing I'm going to say. But Ava's doing great, and so I'm glad she got those genes from her mother. She's doing great.
It's funny you say from her mother because now that you said that, Rick, Danielle, Ava's mother, my beautiful wife, she's actually signed up to play on a women's tennis team, and she's playing at 9 o'clock this morning. She starts match play in October. How about that?
No, she's out here watching, and she watches a lot of the lessons, so I'm sure she's getting a lot of good tips, and hopefully I will help her for her league match.
Yeah, she admits it does. So listen, one more on the men. We both agree here that we're watching the best woman player of all time in Serena Williams. Now, guys, it's different. Some guys will say Rod Laver. Some will say Pete Sampras. Some will say, hey, look, at the height of his game, nobody was better than Bjorn Borg. Listen, that's all up for debate. The four guys I just mentioned, Rick, are we also watching, whether it's Federer or maybe Djokovic when it's all said and done, are we also watching the best male tennis player of all time right now?
No question. Federer is the best of all time. Look, he's 34, still going strong. He can still win Grand Slams. The guy is literally amazing, and the record speaks for itself. He's the best that I've seen. Nothing from Sampras or anybody else because it's, like you said, hard to compare errors. But at the end of the day, the guy's still playing at this high level. He's the best that I've seen. And at the end of the day, he's the best role model. And I think I've mentioned this before. I mean, look how the guy handles pressure. Look how he behaves. He's the full package. And I think when you wrap it up in one, Federer has my vote.
Let me ask you about tennis as a whole here. We're talking about American men, which is never going to come back the way it was 20 years ago, Rick. But in terms of, you talked about the global popularity, and it seems like when I drop my kid off or pick my kid up, there's 1 million kids at Rick Macci Tennis Academy every single day. So while in America the men may not be as good, is it fair to say the sport has gained incredible popularity over the last couple of decades?
Yeah, I think more people, play. I think the health benefits and the exercise are at the top of the list. So, yeah, no, I think it's really on the rise. But when you go to the cream of the crop, and we're talking, there's two sisters that live in the same house and they've been 1 and 2 in the world. Those days are gone, and it's just so competitive around the world. And people don't play football and baseball and basketball and all these other sports, and they migrate to tennis or soccer, and they're just getting better athletes, and that is the bottom line. If you look at the top 4 guys, Sid, other than Monfils, who checks in and out, every other tournament, you got the best athletes, the best 4, and all those guys move better. So when you get a little tight, if you can play the defense, you can hang in there and win matches, and that's what you're seeing from Serena. She's still playing very nervous and uptight, but she can still athlete her way around the court and come up with the W.
So on the way out, Rick, for parents who are listening right now that may have their kids at a different place, I'm looking to steal people away, but the facts are you are the best. That's documented. Everybody knows that. So if they're listening and they're going, hey, I want my kid to play tennis and I want to get involved with Rick Macci, how do parents do that right now?
They go to the website, www.rickmacci.com. That'd be the best way. Send me an email. One of the things that we do that's a lot different, we're really the worldwide leader, is biomechanics. We're on the cutting edge of stroke mechanics. Not that there's a wrong way or a right way to hit the ball, but there's a better way. And we really teach the coaches and we teach other people how to teach. So if we can get those mechanics on young kids and they're competitive and they have good work ethic, good things happen down the road.
The thing you guys do very well, too, is besides having great coaching, like you said, and fundamentally, kids will get much better at tennis overnight. Your conditioning programs, I know Ava works really hard every single day conditioning her body as part of her tennis preparation. I believe that also separates you from everybody else.
Yeah, the fitness is a big part. If you work hard and you're fit, you're going to be stronger in the head, and you get to the ball quicker. So the fitness is a huge part of it. And also, Sid, the motivation. I try to give the kids, the passion and desire and try to inspire them. And, it's not only going to help them in tennis, but it's going to help them in school. And it's a way of life. So there's many spokes that come out of the game of tennis that just reach in a lot of other directions.
Rick, you do an amazing job. I am thrilled to death we found you. Ava loves it. Danielle and I love it. So thank you so much. Rick Macci Tennis Academy, folks, in Boca Raton. That's MACCI. Go to rickmacci.com and enroll your kid today. Good luck, Rick. We'll see you down at the courts later on today. Great job. Thank you, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Sid. Have a good day.
You too. That's Rick Macci. And he thinks that Serena Williams is, in fact, the greatest tennis player of all time. A chance again to do what Steffi Graf did all the way back in 1988 and win all the Grand Slams in 1 year. And he also thinks you're watching the best male player ever in Roger Federer, who is also still alive at the U.S. Open. We'll take a short break. Lots more to do. Mark Feinsand, Kim Jones, Tony Maz, Bob Ryan, Chuck Todd, Lindsey Graham, Lady Antebellum tickets, all that and more. Back with the 7 o'clock hour right after this.